Happy Sunday. This is the Fixed Protocol channel. This is Carlisle Speaks Wall Street. And I wanted to share something with you guys that I was thinking about today regarding the trap of high-paying jobs. Now, some people say, it's all about the money and look at how much money I can make in this particular job. I'm going to go after it. Oh, man, the average salary is so high. It's through the roof. Yeah. There's two sides to every coin, and in this live stream, this beautiful, and I'm being sarcastic, beautiful Sunday today, we're going to talk about why you shouldn't target high-paying jobs. There's some dangers that are involved in that, and I thought I would share that with you guys. Once again, this is Carlisle Speaks Wall Street, and to all my subscribers across the globe, buongiorno, buenos dias, dobre utro, or dobre noche, depending on where you are. And let's begin. Don't forget to subscribe. All right, so here's the deal. There's a couple of things that you need to consider. I don't know why my face is all in this light. It looks all weird. I guess over here is a little better. A little bit better. Let's scroll this out. So here's the thing. First of all, just to clarify, I'm not saying that you should not target high-paying jobs, that there's no type of high-paying job that you should ever target or anything like that. I'm not saying that. I'm not making a blanket statement, guys. What I'm saying is there are, I would say two things that you should consider before targeting a high-paying job, because I think a lot of people miss the mark, especially younger kids. You're just graduating out of high school, and or even college graduates that are targeting certain industries. Again, you can get blinded by the money. Oh, look at those dollar bills, dollar bills, all those bills, right? And you get captivated by the money and how much you can do with that money, and then you dive headfirst right into some career, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna make so much money. And you do this without actually considering two important details. Now, the first detail is that if a job is high paying, there's got to be a reason why it's high paying, right? And if you don't know the reason why a field is high paying, then I would recommend that you not pursue it. Do not pursue any high paying job if you don't even know the reason why it's high paying. That's a critical detail. Now, there are various reasons why a job might be high paying. Sometimes it's because your proximity to the revenue generation process. So, if you're working at a company and whatever you're doing has the most or the highest levels of influence in terms of how much money that the company can make, probably going to pay you a good amount of money, right? Because why are they paying you any money at all? I mean, generally speaking, the reason why, think about if you were running a business, right? Why would you pay anyone? First of all, no one will work for you for free, probably, right? But also, you're paying money because your intention is to make money, right? You look at, I'm gonna create a software development company, right? Why would I pay top dollar for my software developers? Because I want really top-notch software developers, because top-notch software developers are going to allow me to create top-notch software. Top-notch software will allow me to make top-notch dollar. I don't even know if that's an expression to say top-notch dollar, but you get the point, all right? So the more money an employer feels that they can extract out of you, or having you in their presence, or having you working for them, the more it makes sense for them to pay you, right? So that's definitely one of the reasons. Also, they have to pay you for your experience. So, senior level people, I've worked for a long time. It takes years and years to develop that kind of experience. So, and a person like that would have had, raises over time. So, senior level positions, that's why they're going to pay more, because you're paying for the experience. The average person with high level of experience has gone through many raises. Their salary has gone up to a certain point, so you can't offer them low money. They're not going to work for you, right? They're going to go work for somebody else. So senior level positions, you pay more for the experience, obviously. But here's a detail. I mean, these are kind of obvious things that I'm covering right now. But what I think a lot of people miss is one of the reasons why some jobs can be high paying is because of the lack of. Hey, Nick Cartha, what's going on? I see Nick Cartha just joined us. Nick Cartha says, good morning. Rust pays high. I don't know why. People work for me for free, actually. I do web pages, top notch, yo. All right, man. So one of the reasons why some jobs might pay a lot is because supply and demand. Let's just say that you have 100 companies looking to hire Go developers, right? And in the market, there are currently only, let's say, 50 Go developers. You have a problem. You have half as many Go developers as is needed, right? And think about this. So you, the employers, understand that there is this amount of Go developers and there's this amount of people looking for Go developers, right? And you need a Go developer. How on earth are you going to get one if you don't sweeten the pot, right? You are competing, you as an employer are competing with all these other employers that are trying to get these developers, and there's not enough of them, right? So who is this Go developer gonna work for, right? If he's got all these employers that are courting him or her, trying to get, I want you to work for me, right? Then obviously, I mean, as an employer, you're looking for the best employee, right? Best value. I want to get the best employee for the lowest possible price, right? But to an extent, because if I go too low, then I risk losing the employee, right? But as an employee, right, you're looking for the best deal. Who's going to pay me the most? Who has the most opportunity for growth and all these kinds of things, right? So money talks, right? So bottom line is these employers are going to have to raise their money. Oh, we're going to pay you this amount of money. Oh, I'm going to pay you even more. I'm going to pay you this amount of money. So then it's sort of a bidding war, right? And that's how the Go developer, I'm not saying actually, I'm just giving an example, right? I don't know anything about the job market for Go developers, guys. Don't take this literally. I'm just giving an example. So that Go developer or those Go developers are going to make top dollars, right? Because the only way these employers are going to get a chance at hiring one of these guys is if they really sweeten the pot. We're going to give you a company car, we're going to give you this, we're going to give you 2 months vacation, yeah. That's not going to happen. But anyway, yeah. So that's one of the reasons, right? So let's look at the bigger picture now. Now understanding, some factors in terms of why a job might be high paying. So where does the fear come in? Why do you need to be worried or concerned? Because just because there is a demand for Go developers now, and again, I don't mean that literally, just because there may be a demand for a certain field currently, because there's a lack of people, doesn't mean it's gonna stay that way, right? If there's a field that has a lack of people, right, and because of that employers are paying a lot of money, guess what? Word's gonna get out. You have high school graduates, you have people in college, and they're like, whoa, there's Go development jobs everywhere, right? And the salaries are through the roof, right? So that's gonna attract even more people into the market. So at first you had 50 developers, 100 jobs. Now you got 60 developers, 100 jobs. Then you get 70 developers, 100 jobs. I mean, if that pattern continues, then you can get to a point where there's more Go developers than there are jobs. And at that point, Why are you going to pay top dollar when you have so many people that you can hire, right? You don't need to be so aggressive with your what you're offering to your employees when there's so many of them, right? So it's more in your favor. Now, with software development, there's actually sort of a unique thing going on, which I think is a result of sort of where technology is going in the future. But as many people are attracted to, oh, I want to be a software developer because of the money and the jobs and opportunities, it seems like the jobs are still growing, right? It says so you have 10% more people jump into the field because they hear about all the whatever, but then you have maybe a 15% increase in jobs. I'm not saying exact numbers, but I'm saying that's kind of what's happening. So therefore, as many people get into the field, there's more jobs. But one might wonder, how long can that go on, right? Does it get to a point where you hit sort of a point where, where the things kind of stabilize and there isn't any more job growth, and you still have all these people that are still constantly going? And that's actually an example of what you need to look at. And to simplify things, what I'm saying is, don't just jump into a field because it's high paying, right? Understand why it's high paying before you make a decision. And then also, very, very critical skill, a critical skill for any sort of job seeker or someone who's looking into, figuring out what you want to do as far as a career. A critical detail is you need to be a fortune teller. You need to look into the future. You need to project, because a lot of people, I think, focus on the now and what's happening now, and then they invest all this time. I'm going to go to school, I'm going to study this thing, this is going to be my career, and you spend all this time focused on the now, and you're blinded to what's around the corner, what's coming next. You cannot afford to do that. You need to be as much ahead of the curve as possible. In fact, an ideal scenario would be for you to predict a boom before it actually starts. Like, you're looking at where technology is going, you're looking at certain trends, you're looking at the news and certain events, and you're like, whoa, if this keeps up, there's gonna be a boom for this particular type, robot programmers, robot designers, whatever it is. That's where things are going. There's gonna be a boom for UAVs, unmanned aerial vehicles, or for the layman, drones. And for you to start studying and getting into this field and maybe even start working when there's not that many jobs, but it's okay. And then for things to boom, meaning that you would be, since there weren't that many jobs, there aren't that many people who have the skill set, right? And you got in early, so you're in a small pool of people that have a certain skill set that's about to explode. And as that skill set or that the job market explodes, so does your income, right? Because if you have this explosion of this industry, and again, supply and demand, only a small amount of people are in this industry because nobody was paying attention. There weren't a bunch of jobs yet, right? The money wasn't even that crazy yet. You know what I mean? So there wasn't a big demand. So a lot of people have the skill set, and it's going to take time for people to jump into the market. So you can actually dominate as, an industry expert. You can easily climb to the top of the pile, being that the pile doesn't go very high because, again, not many people are in the industry. So that's the ideal scenario if you could sort of predict things. But you want to be very, very careful of not looking at the big picture, right? There's a whole bunch of things that started happening then for a certain field, and this happened, that happened, that happened, this happened. And then at this point in the timeline is when you discovered this field. You're like, oh, wow, the money is great, lots of jobs. And then you jump right in without context of what's happened before and what may be happening in the future. Don't do that. Because for all you know, the market could be getting to a point where it's oversaturated. And maybe you spend all this time and invest into a field where 5 years down the line, the jobs are gone, or the salaries plummet, right? You don't know. And to be fair, you can't really predict the future, ultimately. you can make educated guesses, and you can be informed and look at the data and make a sort of an informed assessment of where things are going. But you can't be for sure where things are going to go. But here's one thing for sure. If you don't at least do the research, if you don't at least consider the context, consider the timeline of where an industry has came from and where it might go, then you're kind of jumping into a pool without actually checking to see how deep the water is. And that's not really a good idea. So don't do that. So definitely don't do that. Understand why a job is high paying and be able to have a sense of where the job or the field might be going in the future. Otherwise, you might find yourself caught up in something where it's not going where you thought it was going, or it's not going where it was going when you jumped in, right? Maybe you missed the party. And I've done that for with employees, employers. I don't know why I keep mixing that up. In terms of, this is not an industry thing. This is a specific business thing. You know, context of a specific business. When I say business, I mean a company. So let's say the context of Microsoft. So you joined Microsoft at a time where Microsoft is not doing that well, but you didn't actually do research into how Microsoft was doing. You just know, oh, Microsoft's a great company to work for, and you go work there, and then shortly after that, things are falling apart. I kind of did that. I worked for companies where I didn't consider the history, didn't consider where they were, where they were at in terms of their timeline of their growth and what they've been through before. And basically, I started working there after the glory days. So when I started there, glory days were kind of fading off, and they were heading into hard times. So I got to hear all the great stories about how things used to be and how they were so awesome, and back in the day we used to do this and do that and blah, 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 blah. And meanwhile, we were laying off people, and it's really, really a bad situation to be in. So definitely consider all those details. Now, the second thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about that you need to consider, and I see we have Two Guns Boxing joined in. Just bear with me 1 second. I wanna recognize the guys in the chat. I appreciate you guys joining in, and also your feedback. And then we're gonna talk about number 2. The next thing you need to consider. I'm looking at getting a new mic. Stay tuned. This is one of the reasons why things like Super Chat are awesome, and I may be doing a Patreon. I'm not sure about that, because definitely the channels cost me more than they're making right now. Like, I spent $90 on a microphone, and I made like $8 on my other channel. So, but we'll talk about that, because this microphone, I want to do another microphone. I'll talk about another video where it's not so much in my face like this, where I can mount it from below, and also I don't have to be behind it, because this mic picks up from this direction. So I need to be like, I can't be like this talking to you guys. So I'm like this, it's kind of weird. But I want a microphone that will pick up from this direction, so I can have the mic like to the side, so it's much better. But anyway, Nick Carter, good morning, guten Morgen. Let's see, Go is cool. Go Dev is a big problem. If I pay him high enough, he'll work for me. Money does talk. I'm focused on that now. What is in the corner? I'm focused on, so he's focused on what's coming around on the corner. Is there mobility in software development? That is actually a good question. I love unmanned aerial vehicle. Yeah, I messed that one up. Can you change direction with the needs of the industry? Absolutely. Just keep doing the research, the past, the present, and future. As Carlos says, is there a big IT contract market in the U.S.? I'm gonna comment on that a little bit later, but I want to stay on topic here. This mic is the legendary CAD E200, and I'm not being facetious. This is actually a legend. These microphones, if you can find someone that is selling them used, good luck. Good luck finding someone. If you find someone with it, good luck getting them to sell it to you, because this mic I've had for over 10 years. Over 10 years. It's definitely suffered some abuse. I've done some crazy things with this thing, and it's still working. Still sounds great, and it's awesome. It's got its own internal phantom power. If you guys know about phantom power, it actually uses power. It's a powered mic, so it uses electricity to work. So it actually has two batteries in there, two 9-volt batteries. So I can actually disconnect and be in the field and use this thing using its own phantom power. I don't have to bring a preamp or anything like that. Really awesome. Anyway, 140 decibel maximum. It'll actually sustain 140 decibels and record that, that's if you guys know anything about sound and microphones and engineering, that's amazing. All right, so number 2. When you're making a lot of money, when you have a high-paying job, when you are, let's put it this way, when you're working for a company and you're one of the highest paid people in the company, there is another risk that a lot of people miss. And that risk is when tough times come around, when cost cutting becomes sort of a focus, shall we say, you become a big target, right? So times are tough, the economy is going through a rough time, and there you are making 2-3 times more than the average employee at a company, right? If they get rid of you, they can afford to hire 3 people, right? For every person at your level, they can hire 3 more people. And also, in terms of cost cutting, I mean, you're making $200,000 a year, right? So we cut this guy's job to $200,000 a year in savings. This guy's job, $400,000 a year in savings. We cut this guy's job, $600,000 in savings. So by getting rid of 3 people, you have saved almost $500,000. Well, not almost. You've saved more than $500,000. And keep the pattern. I mean, if you're a big company, you got 1,000 employees, and that's not a huge company, but that's big enough. You got 1,000 employees, and you got a lot of people that are, well, not a lot, but decent amount that are really high paying. How long can you do that and still, sustain things? Like, I can still be in business without these 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people. Can you cut 6 people? 2, 4, 6, 8. Who do we appreciate? So yeah, you can save the company $1 million a year, potentially, by only getting rid of about a handful of people. Now, that's a lot of money that you can save just by getting rid of 5 to 6 people, right? So what that means is, with a high-paying job, you're also potentially looking at a high-stress job, because it's kind of, instead of, when you have a more sort of a normal type of pay, you can be looked at in terms of, you come in, you do a good job, everyone's happy, great. And then when you get into the higher salaries, it's kind of like the constant questioning of, are you worth that money? And I mean from the perspective of your employer looking at you and trying to justify your costs. Maybe even your manager justifying, when they're doing budgeting, and they're justifying to their managers. And their managers, like, why do we need to be, like, your budget in terms of how much we're paying you out for or how much we've allotted for your staff is pretty high, right? We're looking to cut money, and we're looking at your team. Your team is costing the company a lot of money. Please remind us why it's important that we give your team so much money, right? And then they have to go and justify and say, well, and of course the targets are going to be the highest paid people. Like, you've got Jeffrey. Jeffrey's making $250,000. Do we really need to pay him that much money? Can we not get some, like, a college graduate to do the same work? Maybe one can't do it, but can we hire 2 college graduates to do the same kind of work? We know it's not gonna be the same thing, but can't we do that, and then we can leverage Tom's experience to kind of fill the gap. So we have Tom, who's very experienced in the industry, right? We get rid of Jeffrey, so we're missing the experience. We hired 2 college graduates. They don't have the experience, but Tom has the experience, and he can coach these young college graduates and get them up to speed. And they're fresh out of school. The knowledge is fresh, and they're going to be motivated, energetic, and we can work them to death, paying them a fraction of what we're paying Jeffrey. You know, does that not make more sense? Like, why do we really, what is the thing that Jeffrey's bringing to the company that really justifies the money we're spending on Jeffrey, right? And then you can go from employee to employee, and next thing you know, if your manager loses these battles, then guess what? You got to go. So high-paying jobs, not all the time, but many times can come with that additional pressure and stress. So if you're not looking to be in a situation where you're constantly being second guessed in terms of, you know, are you really worth what we're paying you for? And then it's kind of like expecting you to work harder and harder and do more and more and more and more to justify, you know, your salary, then you might want to potentially think twice about looking at, you know, certain high-paying jobs. Now, with that being said, a lot of times in life, things are not black and white. So there are currently high-paying jobs where a lot of what I said doesn't apply. There are high-paying jobs where it's in such demand that no one's stressing about why you need to pay them the kind of money that you're paying them, because the benefits are very evident and very clear. They can see the money that you are bringing in with your high salary, right? They can see it. So no one's questioning it. It's understood. They might even be asking, is there anything else we can do because we don't want to lose you, right? So there's certain fields that are in high demand, such high demand, and there's such a lack of people that have the skill sets. It's so competitive and also so directly connected to revenue generation. Remember I said that's one of the key reasons why you'll get paid a lot of money. The closer you are to revenue generation, that is the purpose of business, to generate revenue. So if you have a big influence on that process, you have a lot of value, right? So you're not going to be as second guessed and looked upon in terms of like, do we need to pay this? No, we see the balances. We see the money in the account. We see the revenue. We see the profits. Is there anything else we can do for you to make you happy and, you know, keep you here because we love you, right? And that's obviously the ideal scenario to be in. But bottom line is, you've got to do your homework. You've got to consider context. And more importantly, you have to understand why a job is high paying in terms of salary, right? You got to understand all these things. Don't get blindsided by, oh, the money. Yeah, money's only but one part of the equation. All right, so I'm going to end this live stream. I got a lot of stuff I want to do today. I want to do a lot of, I'm working on a Python training series. So we're doing a lot of Python. One of the things we're doing that I need to get back into is we are doing a system checker project, which, you know, some of the subscribers submitted some code and I need to do code review. I'm behind on that. And also we wanted to do game logic design or exploration. So not actually building a game, but what we can do is we can use something like Python classes to test out certain game logic. So for example, you have a player who gets hit with a certain weapon, and that'll take away a certain percentage of points, of health points, you know, so for example. So we track health points, and certain events trigger the mathematical subtraction of those points and things like that. So just game concepts. The goal being to basically explore and to teach you guys certain concepts of Python. And additionally, the Fix Engine project is an ongoing project as well. We've been moving along with that, and right now, where are we at? So many projects at the same time. So the Fix Engine project, the last thing I did, I believe I created a fix message writer. So a testing utility that I built to create fixed messages which I'm going to use to trigger or test behaviors or triggers. So I'm going to program certain triggers. You know, you see a new order, do this. You see an execution, do that, right? In order to test those triggers that I'm going to build, I have the fixed message writer that's going to generate artificial messages on the fly until we actually have a working fixed engine model or simulation system environment where those messages will actually be generated automatically, because that's the end goal. And the end goal is I want something that, you know, if I show the average person that does any kind of fix support type of role, you know, and they look at the log and they'll think it's an actual fix engine, because I'm going to try my best to simulate that activity as much as possible. So basically it's fix engine simulator. All right, guys, so let me take a look at the chat and see what's going on. I see a couple questions. IT contracts. Generally speaking, and words are changing in their usage. A lot of times when people talk about IT, they're referring to like desktop a lot of times. When, you know, IT is a very broad umbrella, of course. But if you're talking about like desktop and similar roles, that market is not doing very well in this country. The salaries are down, demand is down, it's not what it used to be. And contracts in general, like contracts in general, I think are really bad nowadays, because just in my opinion, it used to be back in the day that contracts were where the money was at, right? Because you're not a full-timer, so you don't have health insurance, you don't have vacation time, right? So to compensate you for that, like, again, it's supply and demand. How am I going to get you to work for me if you're not going to be able to go on vacation, you're not going to be able to pay your health insurance, right? That's not really a good deal, right? So what they would do is they would compensate you for that. So basically the contractors would make way more money than the full-timers. Now I'm seeing contracts making the same or less than what full-timers are, which is ridiculous because, for example, I remember a time where I did a contract where simply taking, I think it was a week vacation, either a week or 2 week vacation where I go nowhere, I just sit on the couch, would cost me as much as going to Italy. So going to Europe on vacation, same cost as for a contractor to stay at home and do nothing, because you don't get paid on vacation, right? So all the money, so basically the time, every day that you don't work, the loss is your daily rate, right? Don't even think about actually going on vacation, because if you go on vacation, now you're doubling your losses, right? Let's say you would normally make, I don't know, $300 a day, $400 a day, whatever it is. Let's say $400 a day. If you were normally making $400 a day, I forget what the average cost is of a vacation, but a vacation could cost you close to that as well. So just to keep it simple, let's just double that. So now you have a cost of $800 a day. So for every day on vacation, $800 is what you're spending. For 2 days vacation, $1,600. 4 days vacation, you're looking at over $3,000, right? That's a lot of money. Now, back in the day, you made so much more money than the full-timers that it made up for that. You could afford the insurance, you could afford to take the vacation off, because even though for every day you don't work, you know, well, of course, it's a little more complex than that, because if you're making more money like you would have back in the day, then you're like, oh, your losses are even bigger, because now instead of losing $400 a day, maybe you're losing $800 a day. Whoa, for every day you don't work, that's $800 lost. 2 days of not working, that's $3,000. But the thing about it is, if you've been making $800 a day, you can save up a lot of money. You can have a lot of money in the bank. So yeah, you lose a lot of money, even more money, when you're making more money as a contractor back in the day, but it doesn't matter as much. Unless, of course, you're really bad with money and you live beyond your means, so you don't really have anything saved, then yeah, it's pretty bad. But if you live like a normal person who has some kind of sensibilities, then you'll be saving the money. So when you need health insurance or health related things, you have money in the bank. When you need to go on vacation, you have money in the bank. So it's okay. But when you're not making that much money, so you're kind of maybe living check to check, or you just don't have much room to play with, and then you go on vacation and you're losing income and you're spending money, yeah, that's a bad deal. So that's how it is. Development, though, software development is booming, has been booming for a long time. I see in finance a lot of people looking for Java developers, Python developers, and those are the two main ones. Now, I don't know about C++ and those other languages in terms of the demand, because I'm going to be more aware of the types of job openings that are closer to sort of my background. And I am closer to the Python Java world than I am to the C++ world. Even though, that world and my world are not too far apart, but I'm not really in that world. So I don't know about the demand of those types of languages, but I definitely know that Java for sure. People have wanted Java for a long time. They still want Java, and also Python is in high demand. All right, guys, I gotta get going. There was something else I wanted to address. Nick Carter says $90 on a mic. It was a microphone and an adapter. So I guess with taxes and everything. So it's the Rode microphone. This is a cell phone. You call it a cell phone microphone. This plugs directly into your cell phone. So when I'm doing my live streams from my phone, I can use this. So you see that? There's the connector, right? And here's the microphone itself. So this microphone is about $60, I think. $60, $70. I don't remember what the cost is. But between this and the adapter, which was like $25 or $15, I don't have it here. But there's an adapter because there's two setups I want. This is one where I plug this directly into the phone and use it, which is perfect, so convenient. But there's also another model where I want to use my wireless microphone, which is a $600 setup. It's a UHF, it's really high end. But to do that, I need an adapter to convert from the normal like headphone type plugs to the cell phone plug, and so that adapter and this, it was about $90 with tax. Yeah. Now the other thing I want to address before I shut down the stream is phantom power. Yeah, that's right. Phantom power is basically these mics use power basically to this is like from my childhood. I studied a lot of this stuff. I don't remember anymore, but I guess there's a diaphragm in here that reacts to sound waves, and the you know what, that's too many decades ago. I don't remember. All I know is that this microphone requires power to work, and there are other microphones like this one here, the other one which does not require power, but this actually does require power. This is which would be considered like a studio microphone. So a lot of musicians and stuff, singers and things like that, even like for like acoustic guitar and things like that, they'll use microphones like this. There's many benefits to it. But for example, I mentioned to you, this can tolerate 140 decibels. I think a jet engine is around 120 decibels. Don't quote me on that. So this can actually tolerate sound levels almost louder than a jet. Now, what I mean by that, because you might think, what does that mean? Like any microphone can do that. No. First of all, if the sound is too loud, you can actually destroy the microphone. First of all, the physical vibrations can cause the diaphragm inside the microphone to be destroyed. Now, the other thing is, if I use this to record a jet, it's not going to sound very good. It's going to be distorted, right? Because it's too much. This can't handle the vibrations from a jet engine. This can. This can tolerate those loud sound levels and vibrate, violently or whatever, and still reproduce the sound authentically. So I can actually get a good high quality sound recording from this of a jet engine, whereas the average microphone cannot and will not do that. So I think that's about it. I want to I'm not really big on social media, but speaking of which, I gotta go update the Facebook page. I'm I'm just trying so hard to get over my distaste of the platform, but as a matter of fact, once I'm done the live stream, I'm gonna go to the Facebook page and do an update. And I'm gonna figure out one thing I need to do, which will help me, is I've gotta figure out how to update the Facebook page on my phone. I think on the phone it's set up for me to go to like a personal page, but when you manage pages, I'm not sure. And if you guys know, let me know. I'm not sure how to manage a Facebook page from my phone, because for example, if I want to do a Facebook live video, which I'd love to do, I don't know how to do that. I know how to do it for like my own personal, right? But for a page that I manage, I create a fixed protocol page. I don't know how to do a live video on this. Obviously, I'm sure it's not that complicated. I just haven't had time to look into it. So if you guys know, that help me out a lot. Let me know. You need sensibility. I appreciate that, Nick Cartha. I would $600 is not. I mean, it's not cheap, but you know, professional. That's the thing. A lot of people don't realize that this stuff is really, really expensive. A professional wireless system actually can cost you upwards of $1,000 or more, because if you're not in the industry, you may not understand the complexities involved. Like, for example, interference rejection, right? We live in an age where there's so many wireless transmissions, cell phones, all this kind of stuff, a lot of things. And when you're recording your audio in you know, professional setup, you cannot afford to have anything intrude on your signal. That cannot happen. You're doing an interview, a live interview with a celebrity or something like that, or who knows what the scenario is, and you may not be able to capture that again. Maybe you're recording a wedding, right? Imagine a wedding. There you go, perfect example. Someone saying their vows, and in the middle of the vows, like the microphone cuts out. That cannot happen. So you have to have advanced technology to reject interference. Like the wireless setup I have has a ton of frequencies that it can utilize, and a ton of technology to reject signals and things like that. But there's a lot of complication. Like, for example, if you buy a cheap setup, you will see why these systems cost so much money. Like a VHF. VHF is a cheaper wireless setup. VHF is much more susceptible to interference, and also you have to consider things like range. You know, if this subject gets too far away, someone walks between you and the microphone, you know what I mean? And then you got this, you know, you don't want that. You want a strong, solid, unbreakable signal, frankly, even better than that of your cell phone, right? Because think about your cell phone. Your cell phone, you may have breaking up signal and stuff like that, but when you're recording audio, it has to work. You cannot have any breaks in the transmission. So you need range, and you also need protection from interference. So, and then the types of the transmitters that are required and receivers that can handle interference and can give you good range and all those details, it's not cheap. Also, the robust nature of the system is also what you're paying for, because I've had this wireless system for I don't know, is it 10 years? But time is flying, man. Everything's like 10 years now. Could be 10 years. Wow. Now I'm even amazed by it. 10 years, I think. It might be 10 years I've had this thing. And trust me, I've had it in the rain. I've had it strapped to a motorcycle at 70 plus miles per hour. I've had it in so many different scenarios. As a matter of fact, one of my old microphones, well, obviously I don't have that anymore, actually ended up in the wheel of a motorcycle, and it wasn't as destroyed as you think, because the mic that I have, and I didn't even include the cost of the mic. $600 is just for the wireless transmitter and receiver. The microphone that I use, I believe, is about $180. So the whole setup is about $800 between the microphone and the wireless setup. But yeah, it's audio stuff like that, very, very expensive. $300 microphone, right? And this is cheap, considered cheap in the microphone world. You have microphones that are $800, $900, $1,000. Yeah, very, very expensive. All right, guys, that's all I have to say. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, what's left of it. And shout out to my CPU squad across the globe: Mega Noob, Nick, and also Naraz. You know, working really, really hard. I'm really, really impressed by his drive to succeed and to learn, and I can definitely see he's gonna go places, man. And Dry Ice, who is you know, been watching but doesn't say much. We're gonna try to get him to stop being so shy and to say more, because that does support the channel as well. You guys that watch and don't really comment, don't really like, you don't realize it, but you're actually hurting the channel, because YouTube is watching your behavior, and based on what you're doing or not doing, YouTube is assessing my channel. And if you're coming in and you're not saying anything, you don't like it or whatever, that tells YouTube that the content's not good, right? So just keep that in mind. All right, guys, enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Go ahead and click on that subscribe button and welcome aboard. Also, click on the bell icon. You have to do this because YouTube is about money. They only promote content that makes them the most money. They don't care about content that's of value to you guys. So because these videos are focused on value and not on mass appeal and gimmicky kinds of things, YouTube will censor my channel. They've done it before. Right now, only 5% of my subscribers even know when I post videos. So if you're gonna subscribe, you've got to click on the bell icon. Otherwise, you're not gonna know when I post videos. You're gonna miss out on my secret live streams. Go ahead and join my CPU squad.
All right, guys, I'm going to keep the live stream up, the chat up for a couple minutes. I need to set up a, because it's a live streams are obviously longer than the normal content. I need to cut out the meat of this video and do it as a separate upload, because people look at a long video and they're like, oh, I'm not going to watch all of that. Live is different. They'll watch a long live stream, but after it's live, they don't want to watch a long video. So I'm going to extract the meat of this live stream right now, and then once I'm done, I'm going to put the stream down. Also, I'm going to read your comments in the chat before I shut it all down. understand SQL in about 10 seconds. SQL is basically a language that allows you to access and manipulate data in a database. So think about Google as a database and think about whatever it is you type into that search box as your SQL queries. You type in queries just like you type in statements in that search box, and then you get information, like a good place to get some socks. You've got holes in your socks, so you need a place to get some cheap socks. So you go to google.com, that's your database, and then you type in the search box, cheap socks, and then you get your data or your information, your results back. That's how SQL works. Your database is like the Google website, and your queries, your SQL statements that you write, are just like what you type into the search box. It's that simple. You can filter, sort, and organize that information based on what you type into that search box. SQL works in a very similar way, although you can do much, much more. Not only can you passively access and organize information in a database, but you can also insert, manipulate, and delete information as well.
What's the peak time of sales during the day? What's your busiest day of the week? So many questions you can answer using SQL.
And I can teach you everything you need to know about SQL. So learn SQL so you can create queries, so you can figure out exactly who's got the cheapest socks in town. Don't walk around with holes in your socks. Take my course, learn how to write SQL queries so you can find the information that you need in a database so you can get the job that you want. It's that simple, it's that easy, because I make it that easy. I've taught over 500,000 students. I want you to be my next student. Go ahead and sign up right now, link in the description.
Data on the B side, but there isn't a matching record on the A side. The database obviously is someplace that you store your data. Genius, right? So you have a place that you store your data. Now you need a way to interact with that data, and that's what SQL is all about. SQL allows you to actually interact. What do you mean by interact? How do you insert new data into the database? How do you delete data that we're going to see that data from the B side, and then we're going to see null for the A side.
Do you want a new job as a developer? Right now, there are thousands of open positions for experienced and even entry-level developers. And employers don't care if you have a computer science degree. They just want to know if you can do the work. How do I know? My name's Bobby Davis, and I've launched 3 successful software companies, and we hire developers all year long.
What do you mean by interact? How do you insert new data into the database? How do you delete data that we're going to see that data from the B side, and then we're going to see null for the A side.
Do you want a new job as a developer? Right now, there are thousands of open positions for experienced and even entry-level developers. And employers don't care if you have a computer science degree. They just want to know if you can do the work. How do I know? My name's Bobby Davis, and I've launched 3 successful software companies, and we hire developers all year long.
What do you mean by interact? How do you insert new data into the database? How do you delete data that we're going to see that data from the B side, and then we're going to see null for the A side.
Do you want a new job as a developer? Right now, there are thousands of open positions for experienced and even entry-level developers. And employers don't care if you have a computer science degree. They just want to know if you can do the work. How do I know? My name's Bobby Davis, and I've launched 3 successful software companies, and we hire developers all year long.
What do you mean by interact? How do you insert new data into the database? How do you delete data that we're going to see that data from the B side, and then we're going to see null for the A side.
new job as a developer? Right now, there are thousands of open positions for experienced and even entry-level developers. And employers don't care if you have a computer science degree. They just want to know if you can do the work. How do I know? My name's Bobby Davis, and I've launched 3 successful software companies, and we hire developers all year long.
What do you mean by interaction? How do you insert data into the database? How do you delete data in that database?
We're going to see that data from the B side, and then we're going to see null for the A side.
Do you want a new job as a developer? Right now, there are thousands of open positions for experienced and even entry-level developers. And employers don't care if you have a computer science degree. They just want to know if you can do the work. How do I know? My name's Bobby Davis, and I've launched 3 successful software companies, and we hire developers all year long.
What do you mean by interaction? How do you insert data into the database? How do you delete data in that database?
We're going to see that data from the B side, and then we're going to see null for the A side.
Do you want a new job as a developer? Right now, there are thousands of open positions for experienced and even entry-level developers.
What if you could invest in our planet and your financial future? Swell is an impact investing platform focused on high-growth companies working towards progress in a number of industries like clean water, curing diseases, and renewable energy. Think about it. Our resources are diminishing, our population is growing, and innovation needs to happen to sustain our world. We've created portfolios of stocks that stand to grow as our planetary needs increase because they derive revenue directly from their impact themes. Join us and invest in progress.
So we are here for our 4th ever viewer question and answers video. So because I have a lot of new people on this channel, I actually have mostly new people at this point, because before I uploaded my video on how to become a millionaire with $5 a day, I had 12,000 subscribers.
Thousands of open positions for experienced and even entry-level developers.
What if you could invest in our planet and your financial future? Swell is an impact investing platform focused on high-growth companies working towards progress in a number of industries like clean water, curing diseases, and renewable energy. Think about it. Our resources are diminishing, our population is growing, and innovation needs to happen to sustain our world. We've created portfolios of stocks that stand to grow as our planetary needs increase because they derive revenue directly from their impact themes. Join us and invest in progress.
So we are here for our 4th ever viewer question and answers video. So because I have a lot of new people on this channel, I actually have mostly new people at this point, because before I uploaded my video on how to become a millionaire with $5 a day, I had 12,000 subscribers.
Thousands of open positions for experienced and even entry-level.
What if you could invest in our planet and your financial future? Swell is an impact investing platform focused on high-growth companies working towards progress in a number of industries like clean water, curing diseases, and renewable energy. Think about it. Our resources are diminishing, our population is growing, and innovation needs to happen to sustain our world. We've created portfolios of stocks that stand to grow as our planetary needs increase because they derive revenue directly from their impact themes. Join us and invest in progress.
So we are here for our 4th ever viewer question and answers video. So because I have a lot of new people on this channel, I actually have mostly new people at this point, because before I uploaded my video on how to become a millionaire with $5 a day, I had 12,000 subscribers.
Thousands of open positions for experienced and even entry-level.
What if you could invest in our planet and your financial future? Swell is an impact investing platform focused on high-growth companies working towards progress in a number of industries like clean water, curing diseases, and renewable energy. Think about it. Our resources are diminishing, our population is growing, and innovation needs to happen to sustain our world. We've created portfolios of stocks that
Nick or Nora's, it's good that you mentioned, and I can't believe I'm eating breakfast at this time. I haven't even had breakfast yet. I'm making some cream of wheat or whatever. Uh, Thanks for reminding me because it's one of the things I wanted to deal with. I mean, I can do Google Drive. I already set up like our projects is in a Google Drive link, but that's not the most efficient way to do things. I'm on GitHub, and GitHub is better set up for that kind of thing, sharing code and things like that. The thing is, I'm not really familiar with GitHub, so and I got so much stuff on my plate. You know, it's really tough to get everything done. There's so many things that need to be done. So this is just one of many. So if you guys know how to use GitHub, I'd really appreciate it if you could guide me on that, because I have GitHub installed on my Linux machine, and I have it on my Windows machine. So it's already there, and in my Linux machine, there's a directory where supposedly my code is, but it's weird. I'm not really sure what I'm doing. Basically, what I need to do is so let's look at what all the environments are. I've got a Windows desktop with a virtual machine that has Linux on it, right? So I do coding. I don't know if the Windows machine, it matters because that's the physical machine, so that's where the drives are, right? That's where the folders are. So the Windows machine would have any code that I build in my virtual machine, which runs on that machine. So I have one Windows desktop where I'll do coding in my virtual machine, and then I have a Linux laptop where I do coding as well. Now, the Linux laptop is for coding on the go. So when I code in nature or wherever the hell I am, I'll use the laptop. And whatever code I do there needs to be accessible when I come home to my desktop machine. So pretty much anywhere I go, I want to have access to the same code. Because right now what's happening is it's kind of a mess. I've got different versions of code on my laptop that then is on my desktop. I mean, this is the whole reason why you need things like CVS, you know, to manage a version control and stuff like that. So I got different versions on the laptop, different versions on the desktop. I have software or code that's on the laptop that's not on the desktop. It's really a mess. I need a centralized structure where I have a directory structure that's standard. So wherever I am, it's the same directory structure, and it has the same files because all the files are, I guess, stored on GitHub. I'm not sure how that is supposed to work. Is it kind of like a cloud-based thing where my files will be stored remotely on the GitHub server? And then there's also security issues. I don't want to be pushing all my stuff out to GitHub necessarily. So what I'd want to do probably is I have a subdirectory on my system called CPU, which is where I'm going to have all the code that we're doing in the lessons. So I would want to have that directory and all of its subdirectories stored in a cloud somewhere, and I'm assuming that's kind of what GitHub offers, so that no matter where I am, I can pull the code down from there to my laptop, to my desktop, and also I can share whatever code I want to with you guys so you guys can see. So when I do a lesson, you guys know automatically go on GitHub and check and see the latest lesson code is being updated there. You know what I mean? So I got to figure out the workflow. I'm almost there, but I just got to figure out the little nuances of how to use the product. All right, guys. Let me. I'm gonna show you what I have going, and it looks like Nick has some experience with it, so I would love if you could help us out with that. But I still haven't had breakfast, so let me go see what's going on in the kitchen. I'll be right back, guys.
And those are called approximation algorithms. So here's a way. This is a very old method for finding the square root. In fact, it's believed that Heron was the one who did this, Heron of Alexandria. In the news much today, Alexandria was the capital of ancient Egypt.
All right, guys.
He was the first one to write this method down a long
I'm going to show you what I have going.
It's believed that even before Heron, the Babylonians know how to do it.
Has some experience with it, so
Start with the
I would
guess,
love if
G.
you could help us out with
Any
that.
old guess
But
will do.
I still haven't had
Then
breakfast.
you say is G times
so let me go
G
see what's going
close
on in the
enough
kitchen.
to
I'll be right
X?
back, guys.
If so, you stop. Say, okay, I've got a good enough approximation. Those are called approximation algorithms. If it's not, so here's a way. New guess. This is a very old method for finding the square root. And X divided by believed that G new. Heron was the one who did this. Heron of Alexandria. X divided by G old over 2. In the news much today. And then using this new guess, you go back. Capital of ancient Egypt.
All right, guys.
So he was the first one to write an example of this.
I'm going to show you what I have
Start
going.
with this.
And
it's believed that even before
looks like
Heron,
he's
the Babylonians
take
take a guess. Let's say
has some experience
G
with it,
equals
so
3.
I would love if
G.
you could help us out with
Any
that.
old guess.
But
So we look at
still
3
haven't had
times
breakfast.
3. Then you say is G times
so let me go
G
see what's going
close
on in the
enough
kitchen.
to
I'll be
X?
right back, guys.
If so, you stop. 9 and okay, is that good enough? Those are called approximation algorithms. Well, let's say we're looking
not,
for
so here's
the
the way.
guess. This is a very old averaging G square root. I should have started with X divided. Sorry about that. G new. 9 is probably not close enough. G old. 5. Heron of Alexandria. Divided by G old. Not for most other purposes. In the news much today. And then using this new guess, you go back. Reset G to.
All right, guys.
And we'll set G. Let's firstly run an example down.
I'm going to show you what I have
Start
going.
with this. 25 over 3.
Looks like he's
Take a guess. All of that over
has some
2.
experience with it, so
Start with the
I would
guess.
love if
G equals 5.
you could help us out with that. But
So we look at
still
3
haven't had
times
breakfast.
3. Is G
So
times
let me go
G
see what's going
close
on in the
enough
kitchen.
to
I'll be
X,
right
right?
back,
So
guys.
now we'll multiply that. If so, you 9 and okay, is that good enough? Those are called approximation algorithms. Well, let's say we're looking by itself. This is a very old average G. Started with X sorry about that. Close enough to G. Well, 9 is probably not. G old. 5. Heron of Alexandria. So we'll take another step. Other purposes. In the news much today. And then using the set G equals back. Reset G to.
All right, guys.
And we'll set G. Firstly, run an example down. Not
I'm going to show you what I have
our
going.
formula again. 25.03.
Looks like he's
Take a guess. Where that
has some
2.
experience with it, so
5.4.
I would love if
G.
you could help us out
Close
with
enough.
that. But
So we look at
still
3
haven't
times
had
3.
breakfast.
G
So
times
let me go
G.
see what's going
Close
on in the
enough.
kitchen. I'll be right
Right.
back,
So
guys.
now we'll multiply that. What we say at this point is that an algorithm called approximation algorithm. Well, let's say we're by itself. This is a very old average G. Started with X. Sorry about that. Close enough to G. Well, algorithm probably description how to perform a computation. We'll take another step. Other purposes. In the news much today. Then using the set G equals back. Reset G to.
All right, guys.
And we'll set G. Firstly, run an example down. Not
I'll show you what I have
our
going.
formula again. 25.04. We say that the algorithm has where that
has some
2.
experience with it, so I would love if
G.
you could help us out with that.
Which is a fancy way to say alt G times G close enough. So now we'll multiply that. What we say at this point, what we've got here is an algorithm. If you think about it, well, let's say is a set of instructions. Is a very old average G. Started with X.
All right, guys.
There's a default order of execution. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4. But then there's the go back.
So just catching up with the chat. I think I'm gonna move over to this CPU fan page because this is on Fixed Protocol. So we got a potential, what is it, 10,000 people who can jump in on this, and this is really for the CPU squad. So I think I'm gonna shut this down, even though thanks to YouTube, probably only, I don't know, not even 500 people get notified when I post videos here. Thanks a lot, YouTube. But anyway, let me just read your comments real quick, and then I'm gonna start a stream on CPU fan page, and we'll do a I'll show you guys where I'm at with GitHub.
Selling shampoo, people use a lot of it. But really, there ought to be some termination condition there.
So just catching up with the chat. I think I'm gonna move over to this CPU fan page.
In a
This is on
mechanical
Fixed Protocol.
process.
So we got
One way
a potential
would be to design a
was it
machine
10,000 people
specifically to do square
who can
roots.
jump in on this, and this is really for the CPU
So,
squad.
If I knew how to design
So,
circuits, which I don't,
I think I'm gonna shut this
I
down,
could
even though
sit
thanks
down,
to YouTube,
probably many of you could sit down,
probably only
and design a circuit that would
I
implement
don't
this
know,
algorithm.
not even 500 people get notified when I post videos
And in
here.
fact,
Thanks a lot,
more or less what you'll
YouTube.
find in a cheap
All right, guys.
calculator that does
Just read
square roots.
your comments real quick, and then
Not
I'm gonna
quite
Nick
our
stream
algorithm,
on
but a similar
CPU
algorithm
fan page.
is
I'm
just
moving over
part
to
of
the CPU fan I'll show page. you guys where
go
I'm at with
compute
GitHub.
that. And in fact, this
Hey, Nick Anara has confirmed that you guys are heading over.
initial computers what are called fixed program computers.
We got
One way
a potential
would be to design a
was it
machine
10,000
specifically to do square roots.
jump in on this. And this
They
is
were
really
designed to do very specific
if I
things,
knew how to design circuits,
and that's what they
I
did.
think I'm gonna shut this down. Even though
For example, the very first
probably
computers
only
designed in 1941
not
by
even 500
Aksanov and Berry,
when I post videos
and
here.
involved systems of linear
Thanks a lot,
equation, which you'll
YouTube.
find in a cheap
All right, guys.
for the purpose of plotting artillery.
All right,
effects.
shutting this down. Nick,
And that's all it did.
I'm moving over to
If
the
you wanted to
CPU
balance the
fan
bank
page.
account with this computer, you couldn't do it. But you could figure out how to drop an artillery shell somewhere.
Hey, Nick Anara has confirmed that
Also
you guys
during World War II, Alan Turing
are heading over.
built a machine specifically designed for breaking the German Enigma code.